Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. On May 22nd, 1787, 12 men met to abolish the slave trade worldwide. In one short generation, the British Empire abolished slavery, paving the way for worldwide abolishment of slavery. A world without war is possible. The Society for Effecting the Abolishment of the Slave Trade. 1787, approximately 3/4 of the people of Earth lived under some form of enslavement, serfdom, debt, bondage, or indentured servitude. There was no slaves in Britain itself, but the vast majority of its people accepted slavery in the British West Indies as perfectly normal. The Society for Effecting the Abolishment of the Slave Trade was a British abolitionist group formed on the 22nd of May, 1787, by 12 men who gathered together at a print shop in London, England. Within their lifetimes, they saw the end. They saw the abolishment. Within their lifetimes, they saw slavery be abolished in Britain. A call to action. This effort can be repeated today with American foreign policy. This can be done by positively encouraging our leaders to instead invest the money into our communities. Start with your congressional district today. Ask your leaders to support peace and tell them if they continue to vote for war, you will reluctantly start a guerrilla marketing campaign to alert the public that the congressman is someone who does not support bringing our war dollars home to the community. The idea that brought slavery to its knees. George Yard, London, England. Insignia of the later British and Foreign Anti-Slavery Society. The reverberations from what happened on this spot on the late afternoon of May 22nd, 1787, eventually caught the attention of millions of people around the world, including the first and greatest students of what today we call civil society. The result of the series of events begun that afternoon in London, wrote Alex de Tocqueville, the decades later, was absolutely without precedence. If you pore over the histories of all peoples, I doubt that you will find anything more extraordinary. The building that once stood at 2nd George, 2 George Yard, was a bookstore and printing shop. The proprietor was James Phillip, publisher and printer for Britain's small community of Quakers. On that May afternoon, after the pressmen and typesetters had gone home for the day, 12 men filed through the doors. They formed themselves into a committee with what seemed to be their fellow Londoners, a hopelessly idealistic and impractical aim, ending first the slave trade and then slavery itself in the most powerful empire on earth. The society achieved abolishment of the international slave trade in 1807, enforced by the British Navy. The United States also prohibited the African slave trade that year, to take effect in 1808. Within their lifetimes, these 12 men abolished slavery. It later was superseded by development of the Anti-Slavery Society in 1823, which worked to abolish the institute of slavery throughout the British colonies. Abolition was passed by Parliament in 1833, with emancipation completed by 1838. 46 years. 1833 to 1787, 46 years. Hochschild Adam, January 25th, 2015. The idea that brought slavery to its knees. Retrieved from articles, latimes.com. Articles.latimes.com, 2005, Jan 2005 /opinion/OE HOCHSCHILD 25. May 17th, 1787.com. Peace. Psychological research explained by people. Protest. Peace. Russian peace. Russian peace. Region of the world with American wars. Peace. Yemen. Quotes, the loud little handful will shout for war. The pulpit will warily and cautiously protest at first. The great masses of the nations will rub their sleepy eyes and will take to make out why there should be a war. And they will say earnestly and indignantly, it is unjust and dishonorable, and thus it's no need for war. Then the few will shout even louder. Before long, you will see a curious thing. Anti-war speakers will be stoned from the platform, and free speech will be strangled by hordes of furious men who still agree with the speaker, but dare not admit it. Next, statesmen will invest cheap lies, putting blame upon the nation that it attacked, and every man will be glad of the conscious soothing falsities, and will diligently study them, and refuse to examine any refutations of them, and thus he will be and by convince himself that the war is just, and will thank God for the better sleep he enjoys after the process of grotesque self-deception. Further information. Britain's Legacy of Slavery. See also Resume for Us, Amnesty International. The Society for Effecting the Abolishment of the Slave Trade, the idea that brought slavery to its needs. Further information. See also